Hello, everyone. Welcome to AC Films, a podcast about media and video and movies. I mean, really, we're going to be talking about things going on Netflix, shows, mostly anything you can watch, right?
Yep, that's
right. Is that
right.
really the goal?
Yep, that's it.
My name's Corey, and you are?
I am Aaron. That's Aaron, not Aaron or Alan, as a lot of people like to say, but it's just Aaron. So
Aaron Roper.
Aaron Roper, yeah. Aaron's fine.
Okay. we'll stick with just Aaron.
Okay.
Today's show, it's a big deal. Now, it's not as big a deal to me because I have not been on the boat for like this whole time. But we're talking about the first episode of season 7, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think honestly the fact that you said boat is perfect. I didn't even think about that whenever we were doing that. Kind of does it in both parts of the show. Is the first part will be us kind of going into the first episode of the new season of Game of Thrones, while most of every character is on the boat, and then we go to Titanic, where it seems like everyone is also on the boat.
Oh, yes, we're also going to be doing a review of Titanic in, 2017?
2017,
but
20 years.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're still going to do a review of Titanic. And you have your own reasoning. But
I have. We'll go into that a bit later when we're...
Because I hadn't seen it till this morning.
Yes.
I've only seen parts of it.
That was a big reason why I wanted, because I think we've spoken a little, I kind of gave away a little bit about Game of Thrones, but we both got our own opinions on that. I think we're going to have very different sort of opinions on Titanic, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so... Game of Thrones. Do you want to start? You want to give your initial reaction to the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it.
I want you to take in the scope of every episode of Game of Thrones and give me a rank. Is it rank number 62?
Is that how many episodes?
I don't know how many.
That's how many episodes.
I have no idea how many.
I'm impressed that you did that research. I liked it. I mean, I was super excited. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought that it was, to be honest, it was a little bit of a letdown. That's kind of just because I felt I still think we're obviously Game of Thrones has always been leading to somewhere, and I felt like at the end of last season it almost everything kind of ended and then started building up again.
Right.
So I still think we're still building. It was good, but again, I think the beginning part of the show was excellent, but again, it was very similar to what was happening last season, so if that makes sense.
You mean it was directly related to something that happened last season?
Yes.
So it's just like a follow-up. So that's the best part of the episode, in your opinion, is the very beginning, because we're just capping off something that already happened, and then we get into the real new material, and it's all just a bunch of characters talking about how things are happening.
Okay, so back to what I was saying about the Game of Thrones. Like I said, it was good. I wouldn't rank it up there with the best episode. I'd say last season, the last 2 episodes of the show were probably the best 2 episodes of the entire show. So,
right.
What about yourself? What did you think of the first episode?
I think I'm probably on the same exact boat for like the boat thing going. Yeah. I think that the show was, and this kind of brings me to like another like more broader point that we could discuss, because we're all moving to this this place in media and television shows where people just watch the whole show. Like Netflix, they just release whole seasons.
Yes.
And they don't even bother with like bringing them out week by week. And now HBO has basically a streaming service where I think you can watch any Game of Thrones episode, right? You can go all the way back to season 1.
Yeah, I think it just right now in season 7 it's just doing weekly episodes.
Right.
So.
But they have their own original content.
Yes,
you can watch
absolutely.
any of it at any time. So this episode and this, even though there are just very, very small bits of new information, like probably, then we'll probably get into spoilers in a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But there's some character development. I think the Hound has some character development.
Yes.
But that's almost it. Like the whole discussion between Jaime and Cersei,
Yes.
is literally this is last time on Game of Thrones. This is happening within the show.
Yes.
And it feels dated because you watch shows like Breaking Bad or Stranger Things, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They just learned you don't need a recap for people. They already know. They're fans. They either got on with the show or they went back and started watching from the beginning, and they're up here. There's no need for this episode where we just remind everyone that like Jon Snow is around and like who all these people are. So I think it's a little weird that they did that. Like, they do the thing where they have Cersei literally walking around on a map, explaining where all her enemies are.
Yes.
And then you have a whole scene with Daenerys, coming back to a castle that personally I barely remember. I'm like,
do you remember who was at that castle?
Yes, I remembered while it was happening. I go, I think that's Stannis' castle. Yes. And my wife and I were watching it, and I was saying to her, I go, I think that's the little girl mentioned that the Targaryens used to own the castle.
Yes. And
that was like, I completely pulled that out of the blue, and I was like, I think that's what happened. And then once you walked into that war room, you recognize it. Like, I was like, okay, that's what it was.
Yes, exactly.
Where
Stannis and the Red Woman did their thing.
Right. One of the many times she had the same exact scene.
Yes.
Just the first of many of that exact scene.
Exactly.
So I thought it was weird that, like, we're not going to re-explain this because it's, like, supposed to be this coming home moment.
Yeah.
And you should all know why this is so emotional for her.
Yeah.
But on the other side of it, we're going to explain what Cersei's going through.
Yeah.
Which I felt needed less explanation because we've all done that. We all understand, who's what and where. I think if you're watching it, as a fan. But Daenerys coming back to a castle that we haven't visited since season 3.
Yeah.
I would have wanted some reminder
of what happened.
What happened in that castle. But.
Yeah. No, it's and where did that throne come from? It's like, I don't know.
That was always there, I imagine.
You'd imagine that it was always there. Unless someone's gone in there and just redecorated real quick. But
it was pretty dusty when she walked in.
I just don't remember Stannis ever sitting on that throne. I always remember him being in that war room.
Right.
Just on the table, sort of thing. Literally on the table with the Red Woman. So
that's really burned into your memory,
I know, it is. It is.
And now, you know what's funny? It's you have this huge castle.
Yeah.
That's probably a secret to no one, right?
Yes.
No one's been there. There's not you're at random hobo just living in there.
Yeah.
It just is empty.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that how it works?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, everyone who was there, you'd think that there'd been some soldiers there just in case. My question is, what about if Stannis made it and wanted to come home or something like that? Was he just supposed to do his own thing, make his own breakfast and everything like that? I mean, he's a king. I mean,
isn't he dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
But what happens if he'd survived it? If he'd somehow survived, made his way home,
and no one went back.
Himself. Yeah, no one was there.
Did it look? They only went in the throne room.
Yeah,
and they went into the war room, and it didn't look like. I mean, I would imagine the place would be ransacked and some soldiers are going to be let's go back to the castle. There's no one there.
Yeah. Steal
everything.
Yeah.
And then go live off, as far away from the White Walkers as possible.
Yeah, but it's kind of a bad castle. It's not I think out of all the castles, it's probably the one you probably least want, to be honest.
Come on, I want a castle.
It's very gothic.
I'm happy with a castle. Just give me the worst castle you got.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, let's go into spoilers.
Okay.
We kind of already did, but...
We did the beginning. Is obviously Walter Frey is somehow back from the dead. And as soon as I started seeing that, I was like... Oh my goodness, I was like, they brought this guy back, the guy from Harry Potter, and... he
has no part in Harry Potter. He says
really
from Harry.
Yeah, I can't even remember what house is he. Ravensclaw. There you go. See,
was he from the house? I thought he was the janitor guy.
No, he's the head of Ravensclaw, isn't he? I apologise that we're getting off topic.
No,
but this is probably going to happen often.
Now, wait a minute. Now let me just you should know, being British, your Harry
I
Potter lore. You should know your history.
I should.
Your national history.
We're proud of it.
But okay, there was like in the books and in the movies, there was always this guy who was like the groundskeeper, but he was a muggle. He didn't have magic.
Yes.
And I thought that's who he played.
Oh, maybe, but what, his cat had all the magic?
He didn't have any magic. No. He was just this guy who would complain about the kids ruining the roses or whatever, or tromping through the grass when there's clearly a signpost that says don't fly brooms over the grass, and they do it.
True.
No. What's the name of that game they play?
Quidditch.
You know your
How do
British
you not
history.
know? You like Harry Potter as well.
No Quidditch on the grass. He's right, and they would ignore it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's alive all of a sudden.
Yes, he's alive, and he's getting a toast. I remember as soon as I watched it, the first thing I did was like kind of tap over to my wife and was like, "Hey, you know who that is? It's Aya who's doing it." The only thing is, she does her impression of Walter Frey is pretty spot on. Right. It's almost like it was Walter Frey there himself doing it, which was pretty impressive. So, and then of course he does the toast and everything, and then basically it's almost like a redo of what they did in the first season. In the last season, where she kills Walter Frey, but this time she kills all of his men as well. So
all the way they did, all his extended family.
The way they did that, and the way the speech as well. I mean, obviously I can't do it word for word, but the speech was pretty awesome. I loved the. You knew where that was going, so very impressed by that, and just it was like obvious. But it makes Aya more of a badass than what she already is. So.
Now, does she just have stilts too? Like, does she put blocks on her feet?
So, yeah,
I
guess she's got a little taller, isn't she? But he's not that big either.
She's pretty short.
Yeah, but I guess he's sitting down most of the time. I'm sure when he stands up, they will probably be like, that's a miracle in itself. So
they were just so amazed they were getting free drinks.
I think, yeah, it's but yeah, and the free meal as well. He says. That was one of the things I do remember about the speech, about him giving them another meal. But yeah, that was pretty cool, and the way he left, or she left, the servants alive to tell the story was really cool. So,
now you told me before I watched the episode, the best scene in the whole show. Now it's probably second best scene, right? The best scene you said is just the White Walkers walking.
Absolutely,
and it's because the Giants are White Walkers now.
Absolutely, yeah. That was seeing the Giants. I completely forgot about the Giants. I loved the Giants in that war in season 6 that they have.
Yeah.
With Jon Snow and the Wildlings versus the White Walkers was just awesome. And the Giants, they were just so much like, you were like, okay, the White Walkers don't really stand a chance against them with the Giants. Well, now the Giants are on the White Walkers side. It's just insane. They were already terrifying, and you already knew that they were bad. You already knew that they were badasses, but now it's like, okay, this takes them to a whole new level. Like, it's so funny, as we were watching this, I was watching it with some friends, and one of the friends, as soon as you started seeing the White Walkers, he just all of a sudden thought Lord of the Rings and was like, they have a cave troll. And then you just see the giants in the background, you're like, oh, okay. You're like, wow, that was perfect timing.
They're zombies, basically.
They are.
So it's a zombie giant.
Yeah.
That's pretty terrifying.
That is. So.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think that was like... I think that... Wow, I'm trying to think of like another scene that I thought was as good as that scene.
I thought that was really... That and the first scene were probably the only real memorable scenes. I mean, you can say... I mean, lots of people... I've heard people say that they just really like the episode, and haven't really got a chance to really talk to them and be like, why? Like, what? Like, did you just like the beginning and the White Walkers? I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it, and this, I guess, because like I said, this was the first episode, and don't get me wrong, I'm still going to continue to watch it week after week after week, but it was... Like I said, with all the build-up and everything, I expected a little more.
Yeah.
But then again, this is the show trying to get you into next week. If they give it to you all at once, then you're not going to want more. So they've got to get you wanting more.
I think its greatest sin is not giving the audience their credit due. That we know, the stuff we know.
Yeah.
and then acting like you should know this other thing that we don't necessarily know from a casual watcher of the show.
Yeah.
So that would be my criticism.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff with the Hound, where he's obviously taken a turn.
Yes.
Which I think is important because his character is obviously on a new trajectory this season.
Yeah.
So we have to show his shift.
Yes.
And then because now he actually has these strange feelings like guilt.
Yeah.
And then I like seeing Sansa actually have an opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, she had for so many seasons, she just kind of did whatever she was told.
Yeah.
And now she is basically telling Jon Snow, you should be listening to me.
Do you think that obviously Littlefinger's still around? So do you think that give it a couple more episodes and she ends up going off with Littlefinger? And because remember, she's still got that army. She's technically still got her own army. Because she's against, she didn't want them obviously joining up with all the guys because they didn't help him in the battle against Ramsay.
Right.
So now they're wanting to help, and she's like, no, we need to either kill them or just take away their stuff.
That was the crux of their argument.
Exactly. So
Jon Snow wanted to be like, hey, you've had this family's run this area for years. We're going to keep it that way. But she's like, why are you being loyal to people who are loyal to you?
Yeah.
Which you could, see both sides of that argument. But we know we have to agree with Jon Snow because, as you say, he's the greatest fictional character of all time. No one will ever get enough of him.
Yeah, you say that. No, I mean, I like Jon Snow. I thought his best part was obviously last season, just getting to beat the living daylights out of Ramsay was awesome.
The Battle of the Bastards.
Yes, that was just fantastic. But I mean, with him, I've been saying this for a while. My worry with him is it's almost like he kind of gets shoved down our throats a little bit too much as the just out and out good guy.
Right.
And I kind of think it wouldn't be a bad idea him somehow disappearing for maybe a little bit, going off somewhere and coming back. Because I think it could come to a point that, like I said, all of a sudden we're not looking at him as the good guy. Now it's, he's just the boring guy sort of thing. He's just becoming kind of boring, to be honest. But
I see.
But yeah, I mean, again, that's just my opinion. I mean, I know lots of people absolutely love him. So
I like him a lot because I think he's one of the most been the most steady characters.
Yeah.
And maybe that can contribute to him being a little boring.
Yeah.
But he hasn't had these large throws where I'm evil, I'm good,
yes.
I'm evil, like Jaime.
He's just been good the whole time.
He's just been consistent.
Hey, don't knock Jaime. Don't knock Jaime. There's nothing wrong with Jaime.
He was good for a little bit, and now he's on Cersei's side, but he's obviously at odds with her methods.
Yeah.
And trying to... He's seeing how crazy she's gotten.
Well...
And all of his kids are dead because of her craziness.
Okay, so let's move on to another scene that happened was the Greyjoy, I've forgotten his name, showing up at Cersei asking for Greyjoy. He's built his 1,000 ships.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And he's now there at Cersei, and he obviously likes Cersei, and Jaime sees that, and they're kind of having a little bit of kind of an issue there. But
I have a question.
He shows up with a brand new haircut. He looks
good.
He's looking good. The guy, he's looking more like a king. He's got some guy liner on. I'm pretty sure.
Guy liner?
If you look at him, he's wearing guy liner. Yeah.
I've never heard that term.
You never heard of that term?
No,
Yeah. I've known people who are goths, so I've heard that term quite often. I'm pretty sure it's called guy liner. So people can, if anyone ends up watching this, can actually comment and tell me if I'm right or wrong about that. So, but I'm pretty sure it's guy liner.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I have a theory.
Okay.
This is just like I'm guessing out of the blue.
No, go on.
He says at the end, so I'm going to marry this beautiful woman.
Yes.
I assume he's talking about Cersei.
Yes, of course.
I can only assume because she's the only woman in the scene.
Yeah.
Even that being said, he says, to marry a beautiful woman, I got to bring a great gift.
Yeah.
And he leaves.
Yes. What's the gift?
What's the gift?
Yes.
I'm predicting.
Yes.
And all my predictions are generally right.
Yeah. I'm glad you think so highly of yourself, sir. That's good.
I think it's going to be the head of one of the dragons.
You just took that thought out of my mind. I was thinking the exact same thing. I think you're absolutely right. I don't think it's going to be Draco.
No, he's going to die last. The other two will die.
But I think, yes, he will absolutely take the head of one of the dragons. I think it's going to be... I think, honestly, that's going to have more people crying
yes.
Him taking the head off one of the dragons than anyone else who's died before. Everyone will be crying over that, including myself. So...
When one of the dragons.
Yeah,
we all know there's too many of them.
Exactly. Yeah,
there's three.
So Draco just needs a bodyguard.
They just feel like, I know you've never been like a Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
But the whole red shirt thing, whenever they go on an away mission,
yeah,
and it's like Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, you don't feel too, like it's fine.
Yeah.
They're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But when it's Kirk, Spock, and Ensign Lynch,
okay,
you're like, he's gonna eat it. Because he's got the red shirt on. You've never heard of this character before.
He's a nobody.
He's gonna die.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like the dragons are just like waiting to die.
think so. They haven't even named the other two, have they?
They did. I think she named all of them.
Okay.
But again, like you forget the other
someone
two.
needs to comment and say what the names of the dragons.
It's Red Shirto.
Red Shirto.
There's Draco, Red Shirto, and Crimson Garbo.
Crimson Garbo. I'm glad that was pretty impressive that you came up with their names.
The three names.
If they're the actual names, I will be amazed. But
okay, so you think it's the head of the dragon too?
Yes.
So I was like, okay, what's the guess?
Yes, I think it's the head of the dragon, or it's going to be. I could see. Obviously, the rumor is, and I hate to spoil this for anyone, but she's pretty much confirmed it. Sansa Stark is going to die this season.
Oh, really?
And it could be her head. She wants to die in an epic way.
And she's saying that anyone who ever crossed her gets killed. Like Sansa is predicting her own death. Maybe.
Exactly. I think that happening, Cersei would think that she's pretty much won. If she gets the head of Sansa, then I think... And that gives someone else for Arya to get a revenge on.
Well, she's already got it. Oh, I see.
So, because, it's... Yeah. I'm liking just the little build-up between Jaime and this Greyjoy.
Right.
That should be pretty... That should be quite interesting. I like the way when he left and he was like, you can be with a man who's actually got two hands and kind of... Yeah. But yeah, and then you get the Mountain, who has his
new armor.
Did he have new armor?
Yeah, it looked new to me.
Okay. Or he's just had it nicely shined or something.
Yeah, like during the time when we weren't watching, he went to a tailor. He got some nice armor made for himself.
So while we're
pro bono, of course, who's going to make that guy pay for anything?
So while we're on Game of Thrones, my wife actually pulled up a thing on Facebook that actually had what the characters would look like if they went exactly by the books.
Okay.
And
cool.
One thing that was interesting was Sansa was, they didn't really mention. Jon Snow, I think, was pretty much the exact same thing.
I have one.
But the biggest one was Khaleesi, Daenerys.
Yeah.
Is actually supposed to have short hair. And the reason that she has short hair is because every time she burns, her hair burns as well. Her hair is not fireproof, so that gets burned. So she's always coming out of it bald. So she grows her hair back. So she's always got short hair. So,
gotcha.
But the other one was, I can't remember who it was, but and Jaime and Cersei are supposed to literally be twins. Cersei is supposed to look like a female version of Jaime, and Jaime is supposed to look like a male version of Cersei. They're literally they're twins.
They're identical.
They're identical twins. Yeah.
Are they twins in this show?
I don't know.
Like
I think honestly they were just. Who were you going to get to look?
Maybe they thought the twin thing, like if they actually looked like each other, it would just be too creepy.
Yeah.
Because it's creepy enough as it is.
It is.
Like, I think at this point, and myself at least, I think most audiences are like, Jamie, get over this Cersei chick. There's other women out there.
Yeah.
Like, she's your sister, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
What were you going to
say? Sansa, the head of Sansa, or the head of the dragon? It's going to be the gift. I'm trying to think of what else the big thing happened. I was like, I had one prediction I need you to
go on.
film. So the Khaleesi, Daenerys,
Daenerys, yeah. I'm getting a name right now.
Daenerys, she is basically there to take back the throne of the main city. I can't think of the
Landing.
King's Landing, right? That's her goal, right?
Yes, yeah. She wants to take over. She wants to be basically the queen of the world.
But King's Landing is considered the king of the world.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's because in the past they were allied with everyone.
Exactly.
But like they even said in the show where Cersei was like, "I'm the queen of the Seven Kingdoms," and he's like, "You got 3 at best."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if she takes over that crown, she's the queen of everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is she have any reason to be at odds with Jon Snow?
Cersei?
No, not Cersei.
Oh, sorry.
Daenerys,
I apologize.
Like, would it just make sense?
Didn't they hear something about... They've never really mentioned each other, have they?
They don't really know each other.
I don't think they know of each other, really. I think he's probably heard of her... He probably knows her better than she knows him.
Right. I mean, and her castle, Daenerys' castle she's at now, is like on the opposite side of the world compared to Westeros, right? Like, it's really far from...
Like, you can see... Here's the thing. Like, you can see a link... Like somehow Jaime maybe joining Daenerys through Tyrion,
right?
Because of how close him and Tyrion are.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. The whole time that they've always been at war, he's always looked after Tyrion, and Tyrion's always looked after him. But when you think about it, Jon Snow really has no way of. He doesn't really have someone that he knows who's with Daenerys.
No, like Littlefinger could probably knows. I mean, Littlefinger is that character. You could always write a reason why he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he's always like, "Oh, little birds told me that this is happening."
Yeah.
And there's no reason, like, they never show him actually get told things.
Yes.
He just knows stuff.
Yes.
So he could just walk in one day, the next episode.
Yeah.
He could walk in and go, "Hey, Jon Snow, my little birdies told me this is happening down south."
Yeah.
And he could know tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because now obviously they're supposed to be half brother and sister.
Right.
It's interesting he obviously has no idea of that. How that's ever going to come out, I don't know. I mean, the only way I can think about it is if the little brother is able to come back. I mean, he's made it to the wall now, so now he's made it to the wall.
And the wildlings are on their way back to the wall.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're gonna find out about each other soon.
Yeah, well, I think the wildlings aren't they supposed to? They're going past the wall because they're going to go to the castles that are beyond the wall.
I thought they were going to the castle on off the shore or something. Because there's like multiple castles and keeps
and
on the wall.
Yeah, they're trying
to man
recruit.
them.
Yeah.
Do they? And we have to go on to Titanic very soon.
Yes, we will.
But one last thing.
Yes.
Prediction for you. Because I don't see any reason why Daenerys and Jon Snow are just become allies. They both hate Cersei.
Yes.
They both have a reason. Who killed the Mad King again? Jaime. So they both have absolute reason to hate that Cersei and her family.
Yeah.
So it just seems like a clear win for everyone to just ally with each other and then kill them.
Yes, absolutely.
So do they come up, like the writers, do they write in a reason why there's some misunderstanding and now they're at odds too?
I think there's going to be... Something's going... There's no way that Daenerys and, Jon Snow just ally together to kill off Cersei. Something's going to happen that's going to make them two almost be at war together.
Right.
Daenerys is someone you could see... I actually see Daenerys lasting... the whole time. I don't see her ever getting... would she get killed off? I think if she was killed off the show, there'd be an outrage. I mean, they would just be insane. I think with Jon Snow, with him, it's like... You almost saw originally them two possibly having a connection, love connection sort of thing, and him being the king and her being the queen, and that everyone lives happy ever after. Now they're brother and sister, unless they want a Cersei and Jaime sort of relationship. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's definitely interesting. I mean, like I said,
maybe it'll be a Luke and Leia, and they don't even know.
exactly. Yeah, you don't know how far they really went. So that was kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, we'll go on more and more about this as we kind of do our week to week on Game of Thrones. But I think, like I said, I'm still looking forward to the next episode. I could see for at least another couple of weeks just the same thing happening.
Yeah.
The only thing, and I like to pick out mistakes, like TV mistakes, movie mistakes, and stuff like that. And I'll even pick out a few in Titanic as well.
Right.
The guy is painting the map.
Yes.
Okay, he's painting. So there's wet paint.
Right.
Watch the scene when Jaime's talking to Cersei. Cersei walk right in the area where he was painting. Yes. I can't remember if it's Cersei or Jaime. One of them walks in that area and doesn't batter an eyelid. Like, you'd think that they had paint all over them and everything, but no. So, just like I said, I'm pretty sure they're like capes drag along the floor as well. So
in this world of dragons and magic,
I am
White Walkers
about you
completely just disregard the idea that they have quick drying paint.
Absolutely,
they don't have magic paint.
No, of course they don't have magic paint. So.
Of course they don't.
I
think they have magic paint. I don't think they would ruin their shoes.
I think that's a bit too far. That's magic paint, to be honest. But they can bring a guy back from the dead multiple times, but magic paint—that's a bit too far.
Okay, so. I agree. That's too far.
But yeah, I think I think Game of Thrones was. Well, let me ask you this: so out of 10, what would you give the episode?
I give it a 6.5.
Okay, I
can't say 7 with good conscience because not because it was bad television.
Yeah,
but because they themselves are such better episodes.
Yeah,
that I mean, so I'm comparing it to itself, like among of its own kin. It's not that great. An enthralling of an episode.
I mean, I would probably say 6. It was better than it wasn't. It was better than average. I know a lot of people are probably going to be upset just talking about people and how good they thought it was, but I would give it a 6. Just like I said, I don't think really anything went anywhere. I like the Greyjoy bit, but I think that was about it. I think after that was probably the big, and the White Walker scene was awesome. So that's why I would say I'd give it a 6. 6.5 I'd probably say is fair. Actually, 6.5, I'll go with you.
So I could have saved you an hour, just walked in the room and said, Walder Frey, what's her name? Arya killed off all his family.
Yeah.
The Giants are now White Walkers.
Yeah.
The Hound feels guilty.
The Greyjoy is now with Cersei.
We're good to go. That's it.
Yeah, we didn't even need an episode.
Okay.
Yeah, so... okay.
All right. So that's good. I think we'll just keep that discussion evolving from week to week.
I feel like we almost need like music there to like end the Game
transition
of Thrones thing. Yeah,
there
you go. Yeah, we've actually got friends who
now you pick up and you start singing the Titanic song. So I'll go.
Yeah. Well, real quick before we do that, we've actually got friends who we watch Game of Thrones with, and literally through the whole intro, they're Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, or I think when they interviewed the girl who plays Arya, she would say death and boobs, death and boobs, death and boobs,
death and boobs.
But yeah, Titanic song.
I tried to sing it in the car.
You did?
Well, I was doing something that kind of sounded like an attempt at singing, and my wife criticized. She basically said, "What was that?" And I said, "It's a song from Titanic." She's like, "That's not what it is." And then she sung it much more prettier than I could ever achieve.
I can't. What was it? Near, far.
So, I don't know.
Something like that.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, that's our little intro into Titanic. So,
so your Titanic.
So the reason I picked
your number one movie of all time above Star Wars.
It wasn't the number one. So the reason I picked Titanic was I thought
because it's topical. Everyone's talking about Titanic.
Exactly. I've heard. You got to understand. When I saw this movie first saw this movie, I was 12, and I have seen this movie 100 times. So I've got all different types of opinions on this movie. And
what possessed you to watch this movie?
Well, okay, so when I was 12, all my friends had seen it, and the only reason they saw it was they heard Kate Winslet get her boobs out. And that was the exact reason why I wanted to watch it as well. Girls wanted to see it for DiCaprio, Leon DiCaprio.
Who also takes his boobs out.
Who gets his... Does he get his boobs out? I don't think he does get his boobs
why not?
out. I don't even think he's even topless. I think you might see him... I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, girls wanted to see DiCaprio for DiCaprio. Men wanted to see it for Kate Winslet's boobs.
Okay.
So that was kind of... Or should I say, 12-year-olds wanted to see it for Kate Winslet's boobs.
And as an extra bonus, you get to see a bunch of aristocrats die.
Correct, yeah.
Of giant boats.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, I really wanted to get someone's opinion who has just seen it, hasn't had their mind floored by any other opinions. They just have. I just want to hear your opinion. So, I'm going to actually turn it over to you for the next couple of minutes and just tell me like what your overall opinion was of the movie, and then we'll start going through it.
Okay, so my overall opinion, actually, it's the same score as Game of Thrones. I would give the movie. I want to say 7, but I feel a little like not quite 7.
Okay.
It's like a good movie. I wasn't like bored at any point.
Yeah.
However, I feel like there was very much 2 movies happening, and my initial after watching it, I was thinking about what was the goal of the movie in my mind, and I feel like the main character of the movie is the ship, which is the best part of the movie in my mind.
Yeah.
How detailed the ship is really like a spectacle. Like, it's really cool. Even some of the CG stuff being dated now, it's really hard to even like point out. But you can tell they built a lot of models of this thing, and they've recreated to really tiny bits of detail what it was like to be on the ship.
Okay.
And I feel like it's like the obsession with the ship itself is almost the whole reason for the love story. Mm-hmm. Well, we got to have a low-class guy or someone at the high class and low class, so we have reasons to go from one end of the ship to the other. Yeah. So we can explore the ship. So the love story almost feels like it's just a function to get the characters around the ship, and the fact they're being chased and stuff. So now we get to see the engine room, and we don't have to invent a bunch of characters. We don't need the guy engineering. It's not like a Star Trek episode where you have a guy in engineering, the captain, and we just zip around. Yeah. We just have 2 characters who have cause to go all over the ship. So I feel like that's what it was. So
that's a really good point. I think honestly, you could ask about a bunch of people about their opinion on the movie, and they wouldn't put it like that. But if you told most people that, that's a really good point. I don't think anyone would. I haven't heard anyone give that sort of opinion on it, but that's really good. So,
because I feel like the ship is the best part of the movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the movie starts with Bill Paxton. Yeah. Goodbye, Bill Paxton.
Yes, yeah.
Shouldn't laugh. I know, we should laugh. He's good.
He was a good actor.
The old woman, who is Rose when she's old, is atrocious at acting. She's so bad at acting. It's like,
What was she so? Why was she so bad?
Okay, I think she's bad, and I'll say it. I'll preface it that way.
Okay.
Because the first 45 minutes, the dialogue is terrible, in my opinion. I think it's really bad dialogue.
Okay.
Like, no one, and it's frustrating to me because I know Kate Winslet's a great actress, even though this is like earlier in their career. Yeah. She's still a great actress. She has been. DiCaprio has always been a good actor. Yeah. Before this movie. Yeah. And the moments where they're really great at their part is when they're not speaking. And
interesting.
Because I felt like the dialogue was so ham-fisted. Like, literally, she just keeps explaining over and over again how frustrated she is with her life. Like, literally just saying the words.
Yeah.
She has lines like, I feel as if I'm in a room surrounded by people and screaming and no one looks up. Like, no one talks like this. Like, no one just says their emotions.
No, I get you.
Another thing where I thought where just, like, dialogue gets in the way in this movie is where Billy Zane, near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Billy Zane, again, the best parts of the movie are, like, when they're not talking.
Yeah.
But, like, so Billy Zane, he lets them go. He's, like, shot at them a bunch of times, and he's, like, and the dude comes down, his, like, buddy who was chasing him all over the ship, and he goes like this. He's, like, pats his pockets.
Yeah.
And he goes, like, curses. I can't remember what he says.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, what's the matter? And he's like, I put the diamond in the coat.
Yeah.
I put the coat on her!
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we telling the audience these very, like, we have to explain everything to the audience. And that's what I think frustrates me about the dialogue. There's a scene when Jack is going to the dinner party.
Yes.
And it's a contrast to me of, like, how, like, it feels like he's acting as bad in this movie, and then he does something that's great, and I feel like it's not him. He's working through this ham-fisted dialogue the best he can, and then there's these moments where he's waiting for her at the bottom of the stairs, and he's looking at all these, like, rich people, the way they're acting, and he's, like, copying it, and that scene is awesome. Yeah. He's so good in that scene. Yeah. There's lots of scenes like that where they're, again, like, where they're not speaking, they're just, there's a part where Kate Winslet is not, she's just listening, she's sitting at dinner with her mom. Yeah. She's not talking, and her mom and her friend are, like, having this discussion in the background. It's not even, like, in the foreground of the sound. And she's watching this little girl on the next table over get told, like, sit up, do this, put your napkin like this, and she's just, her face. That's, like, good stuff. Yeah. And then they talk and it ruins the whole thing. Yeah. So that, to me, like, the love story is the weakest part of the movie, which is ironic to me because, like, that's what you know of the movie. Yes. Like, everyone talks about the love story, but as soon as that iceberg hits, from my perspective, from me enjoying of the movie, like, thank God for that iceberg because, like, the movie gets so much better. Yeah. It's so, like, James Cameron's so good at building tension in a scene. Yeah. To the point where I know that the iceberg hits the ship. Yeah. You go to the movie knowing the iceberg hits the ship, but when they see the iceberg and they're like, you know, turn to port, and they all start yelling down in the engine room, and they're reversing engines, and they're, like, doing all their, like, boaty things to get the ship to turn. You're like, maybe they'll make it.
Yeah, I know. You see them turning.
Yeah, and you legitimately, like, feel in your gut like they might make it, and it's, like, insane because there's no way they're gonna make it. But that's how good, though. Like, that's, to me, is the contrast. Weird thing about the movie is it's the weak in the beginning, and then I feel like once it, like, the action starts happening, that's James Cameron where he's really good. Where I could build tension in a scene like that, and it's, like, amazing. Yeah. So I feel like then you have, like, an hour of, like, that whole part. I think I feel like from a writing perspective he's more comfortable writing that kind of stuff because suddenly the dialogue gets a lot more natural and everyone starts acting more like humans. Yeah. The whole, like, how the guys, the captain and, like, all the higher ups know how bad it is. Yeah. And then they just cut to people just still enjoying their dinner and like just like, oh, I guess something hit the ship and they don't care. Yeah. And there's, like, just, you just keep jumping from, like, guys in complete panic, and then, like, people just, like, going off. So all that stuff is great.
It was, absolutely. No, that's really good. I mean, I can tell you that I love the movie. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, if I was to give it out of 10, I'd probably give it an 8.5, maybe 9, close to 9 out of 10. I really do like it. I think there's a few flaws in it, but I think you're absolutely right though. The ship is just phenomenal. That beginning part, whenever she says the ship of dreams, and then all of a sudden it pans to the ship and just kind of goes across, and then whenever they're sailing or whatever on the water, and the dolphins
chugging. I think it's
whatever. Yeah, where the dolphins are in front. That scene and everything, and the King of the World scene. Just the visuals of it was just brilliant.
Yeah,
I never saw this movie in the cinema, and I so regret it. And it was one, I think. So in England, you guys have rated M, PG-13,
right.
Rated R and stuff like that. So in England, we don't have that. We have ages. It shows. So we have PG, parental guidance. Then you have 12. Okay. You have to be at least 12 or over to watch. 15, and even some cases 18. You have to be 18. It actually says 18, so they won't sell you the movie or let you into the movie theatre if you're not that age.
Right.
This was a 12. And I was 12 at the time, and I really wanted to go because all my friends were able to get in, and like I said, back to the Kate Winslet boobs thing. But I ended up watching it at a friend's house, and I'll never get when I was like, oh, great, 4 hours long. But
it's only 3 hours.
It is 3 hours long. But I thought the whole time I was really impressed with it. I agree about the old woman. She wasn't the greatest of actresses, but she was. She's made up for it by Kate Winslet and DiCaprio. I thought were both brilliant. It's like I said, visuals, the love story. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I mean, the clock thing and the stairs was pretty awesome. I loved that, and how they kind of ended it in her dream and stuff like that with the clock and everyone around.
Yeah,
that was really good. Cool. That was a great visual, and how
good they're not talking.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Just a very good all-round movie. I think the acting to me will say Bill Paxton, loved him in it. And then you've got, obviously, DiCaprio, Kate Winslet. A guy I really liked in it was the boyfriend, was Billy Zane.
Yeah, he was good.
I thought he was absolutely brilliant. It's amazing how he never really... This is probably the biggest thing he's ever done. He's not done too many... But he was brilliant. He was so evil.
He did do The Phantom.
Come on. And I like The Phantom. It was as terrible as it was. And Catherine Zeta-Jones was in the Phantom. And not a lot of people know that. She was the bad woman in that. But he was the Phantom, and then he becomes this evil guy who, I thought he was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, we could go through scene by scene, but we'd be here hours and hours. But just a couple of like little scenes that like kind of stuck out to me. Obviously, it hitting the iceberg, like you said, was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. How you go from this love story, they've just escaped everyone, everything's happy, and you almost forget about where they are. You think, oh, they're together, they've done it, and then all of a sudden the two guys are in the thing, kind of laughing at them and stuff like that, and kind of doing their own little thing, and they're really happy for them, and then all of a sudden there's this big arse iceberg in front of them that hits them and takes them down. Okay, so another thing that people almost joke about is the Kate Winslet DiCaprio love story and how it ends. Yeah. How did you feel? Like, how did you like her? How did you like him? How did you like their characters? And like how their kind of story, I guess, ended? Because a lot of people make fun of it, like her on the door and him just freezing to death in the
Well, I mean, water. I think the movie makes clear that he tried to get on the door and he can't. It'll fall and they both will die. Yeah. And then he leaves her up there.
So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Bruce Almighty. Yeah. When Jim Carrey, there's a scene in it where he's talking to this woman on Maid of the Mist, and he pretends that she's Rose from Titanic, and he was like, "Were you okay?" He says, "Were you okay letting Leonardo DiCaprio die while you were floating on the giant door? Do you not think that you could have taken turns? Well, but were you too scared to freeze your big fat arse off?" It was brilliant, but
I don't think you could. Okay, go on. Continuity. I think it doesn't make sense that now they're running around and stuff, but technically, they act like once they hit the water, they start freezing.
Yes.
But they, for scene after scene after scene, have already been completely submerged in the water.
Yes.
And they're running around. Now they're running around again, but you would be in that freezing air. You know, they act like it's a little bit different once you're in the ocean.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. It's literally, your body has no chance of warming up again when you're submerged, like, for a continuous basis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they get out for a little bit because when the boat starts tipping up.
Yeah, and then they're running up the side of the boat and stuff. But they have been deep in this water many times throughout this movie already. But, no, I didn't have any issue with it. I think it was clear that, like, if you switch off, you're just both going to die.
Yeah.
And that he obviously sacrificed himself for her. And there's a moment where, like, they cut away from them. And she comes back and she's, like, delirious on the door. Because she's dying. She's dying. Yeah. And then she realizes he's dead.
Yeah.
So, like, there wasn't, like, a moment. She thought he was alive. She was like... Well, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it.
No, I mean, that's... People joke about it. And people also forget that she could have left him so many times in that. I mean, we were talking to friends this weekend about the movie because everyone makes fun of saying that Rose was just a heartless woman because she just left...
I do think she ended up being a heartless woman, but for a different reason.
I think I know where you're going with that. And if you're going where I think you are, I completely agree. With Jack, she has several chances that she's on the lifeboat to just go.
Right.
And several times she comes back for him.
Right.
Now, one way of looking at it, this is kind of a joking way, is if she just got on the lifeboat, maybe
he'd have the door.
Maybe exactly, he would have had the door, and then he would have been alive when everyone else would have died. He would have grabbed the whistle, blown the whistle, and they would have been okay.
Right.
So, but
that is absolutely the truth.
That is, but again, you can't really. Anyway. I loved how, for a minute, Billy Zane is almost human whenever he gets the little girl, even though he's still doing it for himself. And he's still, like, he puts the little girl, he's still, like, comforting the little girl just for... But then as soon as the boat tips over and it's him, it's all for himself. And you see him kick several people off the boat. And he just turns into this monster again. But, it's... I mean, when he was chained up, and she could have left several times, and she came back and saved him. It was the other thing to think about is if you're in that freezing cold water, like you said, she's delirious and everything. She's on the door. She's not even thinking about him. Right. Not that she doesn't love him or anything. She's just not thinking about him. She is actually thinking that she's just as cold as he is.
Right.
Because even though she's got out that water, she's still freezing.
Yeah.
She's not drying. She's still in that freezing weather. So even though he is dying quicker than she is, she doesn't realise that.
Right.
She's just thinking, as long as we stay above the water, as long as our heads and we can breathe, we're fine. At least for the next few minutes. Right. And that's it. So I get it. So, I mean, with the whole sharing of the door thing, you couldn't do that.
I didn't know it was a door. I thought it was the piece of the clock wall.
I
meant to go
honestly,
back.
I think the whole reason, believe it or not, I think the whole reason they said giant door is because of Jim Carrey. It's because of Bruce Almighty whenever they say giant door. I think everyone else was like, she's on the piece of wood.
Right.
But it could have been the clock.
I was meaning to go back and look at the actual piece to see if it matched the design of the clock. Well, why do you think that I think Rose was a jerk?
So let me...
heartless woman.
I don't look at her... So this is old woman I'm talking. I think when she's young, she wasn't a jerk. When she's old woman, she's nasty. Okay. Bill Paxton has gone out of his way to fly this woman out, clothe her, home her, feed her, given her like the best room ever, listen to her BS stories, and he
against the better judgment of his team, who says she's just full of it.
Exactly, listens to the whole thing, records it all for her. Okay, just to find the heart of the ocean, and that heartless, I'm going to say it, bitch, drops that thing into the water.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
Bill
Like,
Paxton,
yeah,
it's like, people can say what they want. There's no defending that. I'm sorry, but there's no defending that. I don't care. I'm sorry if this means people don't listen to us because I made that comment. I don't care. If you're supporting that old woman, you shouldn't. All she had to do was give him.
What if they have the scene and she goes what and like throws it? She makes this weird sound when she throws it in. I know.
She's proud.
She's proud of it. She throws it in, right? So then we cut to the front with her looking down, and then just we pan over and Bill Paxton is there smoking a cigarette, and he goes, "What the hell did you just do?"
And just dives in.
That
would have been brilliant. That would have been brilliant. No, it's okay. So, like you said so 6.5 out of 10. Good movie. Would you see it again?
I wouldn't mind watching it again. I'd watch it again. And like you said, if it was like in the theater for a week and someone said, "Let's go see Titanic," oh sure, like that. It's a good movie. To watch on a big screen. Like I'd be happy to watch it.
Yeah.
I think it suffers from like two different movies. I could almost just not have. Well, see, it's hard to say. I could say I don't want the first 45 minutes of the movie. But the first 45 minutes of the movie, besides the love story not really working for me, you have also the stuff of the boat, like when it's nice and awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, I love that stuff. So, it's just really, like, again, and there's some parts of the love story that works. I just think that, like, for a thing that I've always sounds like that's the love story movie.
Yeah.
To the Titanic.
I know. It's like
the dialogue of the love story was the worst part of the movie, and then everything else is great. Yeah. So so maybe it's a perception thing. Like if I didn't have that built up, like this is going to be like a really romantic part of the movie, but to me it wasn't. It was corny. Yeah. And then you have all this other great stuff background to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they wanted like some sort of love story, some extra story in there that they could, like you said. I mean, perfect example. I don't think people think that. They just think a love story. But when you're like, no, we get someone rich and someone poor, so we can see them on either side of how they live in the ship, and how they kind of go through. That was brilliant. So what I'm going to do now is I've actually this is kind of I haven't wrote anything down or anything, but this is so I figured it'll be different. But I've always wanted to say, in have you ever seen Kindergarten Cop? With Arnold
a long time ago.
Okay, so the famous line is, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?" So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game called "What was their name and how did they die?" Okay.
Okay.
I meant to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, so.
Oh God.
I can't do an Arnold. You do the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice for that. So.
What the name of the guy?
Yeah, so it's
who was the name and what did they die from?
There you go. Perfect. Awesome. So I'm gonna say someone. I won't say their name. I won't
describe
say their name.
them.
I will describe them. I'll describe what they did, and you tell me what their name was, either first or last name. A lot of people were Mr.
Yeah,
something.
I'm not going to get into this.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how you do. And if people want to comment and obviously I'll give away the answers, but if people want to, we'll try and do this each week. And if people have questions and stuff like that, or like little questions, just comment. Okay, so first things first, I'll start off with some easy ones, okay? Who was Jack Dawson's best friend?
That French guy.
Okay, what was his name?
I don't know.
Oh my God, the easy one. Was he French? I thought he was Spanish.
He might have been Spanish. He had a thick accent.
How did he die?
He got crushed by the big pipe thing falling over.
Yes. Okay, I'll give you that. So that's good. So come on, name. You've got to get the name.
I don't remember the name.
Okay. I just remember his fame. Okay, so
Pablo.
No, Fabrizio.
I don't know.
Fabrizio.
How I missed that, Fabrizio. How did that escape my memory?
Who? This will be a little. This will be a little tougher then. Who was?
I can barely remember Rose when I was talking about this with my wife. Okay, and half the movie is someone yelling, "Rose, come back, Rose."
Okay, so who was the Irish fella that they met?
I know the character. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's
He was
his
the
name?
one.
What's his name? Either one of his names. First
McMillan.
Oh my god. Okay, how did he die?
Nick Irish.
How did he die?
He got shot.
Okay.
By the guy, like, the nervous dude.
Okay. Who shot him?
The name of the guy?
Yes.
Oh.
He was Mr. Somebody.
Mr. Deckhand Asshole.
Oh my
I can't remember any of the names, dude. There's no way. I could tell you how. I think I could. I don't think you could stump me on who died. How they died.
How did he die? The guy who shot Tommy.
Who shot Tommy?
Yes.
He died, you say?
Yes. The guy who shot Tommy.
Okay, so he
was the one who Billy Zane.
Yeah, he let him on the ship.
Threw him the money. He threw the money back to him.
Yeah.
And then what did he do? How did he die?
Wait. Maybe this might be a trick question. Maybe
no, it's not a trick question. He did die. He did die. He's another one that didn't really die because of the. He didn't really die
because of the ship sinking.
Because of the ship sinking, he died.
Yeah, Billy Zane came out. We had a deal. He threw the thing at him. He threw the money at him.
He'd already shot Tommy.
Yeah,
and he shot someone else. Then
right.
What happened? Then what?
He shot himself in the head. Yeah. That's right.
Mr. Murdoch, his name was.
You know what? I should remember that because Dark City is one of my favorite movies. And did you ever see Dark City?
I haven't seen.
Okay, that's going to be your homework.
Okay, that'll be my homework. Okay, so next, let's do. Okay, Billy Zane's bodyguard name and how he died.
Merlin is his name, and that's the only reason I can because he played Merlin in an old terrible movie. His name was Merlin.
Okay.
His name was Merlin.
His name was Lovejoy, Mr. Lovejoy. I'm pretty sure it was Mr.
Merlin Lovejoy, exactly.
It wasn't Merlin. It was just Lovejoy.
He died. Damn. How did he die? I'm trying to remember the last scene I remember, man. Chased him around. Shoot.
He didn't die from any shots. Remember, he lost his gun.
He did lose his gun. Billy Zane took the gun. Used up all the ammo.
Yes. And then made that comment about the diamond. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you remember when the ship starts breaking?
Oh,
he's
yes,
hanging on to the
he
side
is.
and he falls into the engine room.
Yeah, that's right.
He dies kind of one of the most painful.
That's right. I remember that scene now.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. So, what about... Okay, so, do you know what... This is just, like, stuff about the movie. Do you know what scene caused the most injuries?
Oh, like, behind the scenes?
Yeah.
You told me already, when they were, like, sliding down.
Yeah, so it was actually the inside, you know, when they shot inside, the people just sliding down.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the other scenes of people just dropping and stuff like that, they were fine. They didn't put anyone, but they said it was the people sliding down, the people inside sliding down would, like, bang into things, and they expected it. You'd expect that to be fun, but that's where most people broke ankles, twisted ankles, broke arms, and... It was insane, but
I would have thought the Titanic sinking would be fun times for everybody.
I know exactly.
And it's not.
What you thought.
There's a lot of injury and death going on.
I read a couple of other things that was quite interesting. There's a thing on Facebook recently about. So you had all the lifeboats go out, and they were talking about how each lifeboat could have fit over 60 people in, and they found a bunch of lifeboats with 28, 20. 12. There was they didn't fill the lifeboats at all. They filled full of the rich, and they also could have put more lifeboats on the front, but they said they wanted to give the first class a sea view, and that's another reason. The other thing was not all the lifeboats got rescued. They found, I think it was 2 lifeboats like weeks later that had died. The people had obviously frozen to death. They found them. So not all the people who made it to lifeboats made it.
You would think you guys would stick together.
You'd think, yeah, but some of them went off into a different direction or whatever. But yeah, I guess.
So I have a piece of trivia for you.
Okay.
Because you've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie several times.
Okay, so in the scene near the end, when they're like going through looking for people to survive,
what colour were the walls?
You ruined my joke.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's over.
I'm sorry.
I was going to make some funny things. There's no way.
the picture.
There was a baby, the woman holding a baby.
Yes.
She was frozen to death. The baby was frozen.
Yes.
You remember that?
I do. She was the same woman who turned to the captain and had that funny accent and was like, "Captain, where do I go?"
Oh, that was the same lady?
Yeah, same woman.
What brand diapers was the kid wearing?
It was the brand. It was a generic brand because the woman was kind of poor, so she couldn't afford a name brand. So that is a trick question.
Like Safeway?
Yeah.
Wow.
Safeway, exactly.
That's pretty good.
That's exactly.
I didn't expect you to have that answer.
Here's a couple of mistakes, and like I said, the mistakes are kind of there. So first things first, the woman who puts her kids back to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. When does that happen? You remember when that scene actually happens?
You know, you mentioned that. There's a scene. There's a scene where they go into like a montage and they show the old couple hugging each other, and the thing is like being filled with water.
Yeah,
and they cut her down.
E-Deck was already underwater at this point.
Right.
So her putting her kids to bed when she should have been done that, and when she was telling the thing, she should have been like because she should have been at a mouthful of water because she should have been underwater at that point.
Ridiculous.
The old couple I can understand because they're in first class, so they're a lot higher. That makes sense. But the woman with the two kids, they should have already been dead already.
Maybe they were dead. It's like the
Sixth
Sense.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay, I get you.
It's a metaphor.
But, okay, so it looks like we've gone just over an hour here. So we've already given really our ratings on Titanic. So let me ask you this: what do you want to do? So my thinking is we wouldn't just do movies; that we would maybe do trailers as well.
Okay.
Like one thing that might be cool is to review the newest Star Wars trailer, especially if we do Rogue One as one of the movies that.
So next week we do a trailer.
Yeah, I figured we could do Rogue One and.
I got another trailer for you. We'll do next week.
Okay.
It came out like yesterday.
What's that?
It's called Bright.
Interesting. Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
It's a Will Smith show, or I can't tell if it's a show or a movie on Netflix.
Interesting. Okay.
Since we're going to be doing Netflix stuff, I saw it. Well, I'll show you the trailer as soon as we're done recording.
Okay. Awesome.
But that's this week's show.
Yes.
And we're going to do more Game of Thrones next week.
Yeah.
So Game of Thrones until it's over, and then some other.
Yes. Yeah, we'll try to.
We have to fit in a Dark City review from you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. I promise I will do that.
All right. So next week, come back.
Yes.
And hear our review of maybe the next Game of Thrones episode. I don't know.
The next. Maybe. Depends. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Rogue One. We're going to do Rogue One for sure.
We'll do Rogue One for sure. But yeah, I mean, we'll get this. Hopefully post up on YouTube, and I'll send this on Facebook. I would just, if you don't mind, I mean, subscribe to the channel. As a wise man once says, if you liked us, tell your friends. If you hated us, tell your enemies. It's just tell, or if you thought we were just okay, just tell the odd man on the street. Just lend him a computer and something.
Tell him, listen to this.
Yeah, listen to this.
And we're not asking for a lot. We're just asking you to go to Radio Shack, buy a thumb drive, download this podcast, put it on it, and give it out to people.
Yes, and
that's it. It's very easy.
I will send you I will send a address out so people can send checks and money into us. That would just be brilliant. And then we can continue to do this and do. No, I'm joking. But this has been fun, dude. So if we'll try and do this a weekly thing, and see how it goes. You got anything else to?
No. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.